What is happening, everybody? My name is Beth and welcome back to Every Day is Spooktober. This film that we're talking about today is pretty spooky in itself. I know people might be shocked if, for those of you who do follow sort of the channel, I've talked about found footage films and how they are literally like my favourite subgenre of horror. Like, you know, I absolutely adore them. Let's just clear something up first. I have seen the Blair Witch Project before, okay? It's like, it's one of those things where, like, you know when you watch a film like years ago and then you just never revisit it, and like it was never available to me on streaming platforms and you always had to like pay for it. And then I finally bought it on DVD recently because obviously I've been building my collection, and I revisited it. I watched it years ago, and if I'm quite honest, I barely remember anything that happened. So it was nice to come and revisit the like OG, the one that started all of this. It was just fun to come back and sort of revisit this film. And I thought like we could do a review about it because this film inspired so many other filmmakers to do other found footage type movies. So yeah, let's just talk about the Blair Witch Project, and let's have a good old chat about it. So the Blair Witch Project came out in 1999, the year of me. So obviously this is like a really special, I'm just kidding. Yeah, it came out in 1999, and it's to me it's so crazy to think that like this genre had only started being explored like what, 23 years ago, 24 years ago. Like it's mad to me that that's when this whole thing just sparked off, because found footage is unique and special in itself. Like it's like you're not showing anything, but the way that the camera is held, the way that the perspective is different from a regular horror film, it just makes it 20 times more scarier, and you don't even see shit half the time. And it's like movie magic. And I know, I'm sure for a lot of filmmakers it's a cheap film to make, for sure. You know, you don't have to worry about hundreds of different cameras. You've literally just got a POV of one person. I'm sure it's a lot easier to sort of you know, set up and plan and everything. So, you know, I think that's just the beauty of found footage. It's very simple and easy to make. You just need a good story, and you also need really engaging characters. I think with the Blair Witch Project, you know, I feel like it's hard to judge it now, because when I was watching it, I was like, you know, we have like all these really crazy found footage films. Like we have Wreck, we have Unfriended, which is like on the internet, which is, you know, online, which is crazy. You have like The Devil Inside. Like you have all these new sort of found footage films that have come out, and it's like hard to compare because these newer found footage films are definitely like a step up. Whereas the Blair Witch Project is pretty just simple, straightforward. Like there's not really much that, you know, there's no sound design, there's no extra this, that, or the other. Like it's a very simple put together film, and it does feel very real. A lot of people have said as well that when the film did come out, I mean, I wouldn't have remembered it because I was literally a baby, but when the film did come out, people genuinely thought that this was a real life film and it wasn't like make believe. And they advertised this film to make audiences believe that this was a real footage found of people just lost in the woods. And like this fairy tale, or not fairy tale, but this like tale of like the Blair Witch and like her putting spells on people and like killing you, whatever. Like the people genuinely thought it was real. And it's funny to think that, because I mean, like if this started like now, you know, it just wouldn't happen like that. And it's just crazy to think how much we've sort of changed and evolved as human beings, because in 1999 we were believing that you know, cinemas and production companies and etc would let this type of film that's real be put out into the, you know, real world for people to see. Like it's just so bizarre of a thing to come out, in my opinion, if, you know, if people did think it was real life. Like I was saying, I do think it's a little bit hard to judge the film without comparing it. So after I watched the film, I really had to just sit there and like digest it as if I was like, oh, like I don't know anything about found footage, like this is new, this is crazy. I have to admit, The film for me is a bit long. There's a lot of like walk around, what the fuck are we doing, which I mean it happens in a lot of them. You have to establish the setting, the area, the situation, which I totally get, but there's just a lot of it. And like when you're in the woods, everything looks the same, so there's no like change of scenery, there's no, oh, there's this, there's that. It's very samey and it gets a bit repetitive. I have to admit as well, some of the characters were pissing me off. I mean, to be fair, all three of there's not a big cast here. There's three characters. They're all pissing me off. Majority of the film, as soon as they get in the woods, is them just arguing. And I'm like, okay, I understand this is a stressful situation, and you would probably argue, or there would be some confrontation if you were in that situation. But like, everyone's like so point and blame. Like this, like everyone's just so like, it's your fucking fault. Like point your fingers, and I'm like, like it was stressing me out. Which, I mean, fair enough, it gives you the effect. You've got some idiot with a camera in the middle of the woods just arguing with someone, and it gives off the effect to audiences, like, stress and you know, they need help. I guess is a good technique, but in my opinion, I wish there was some more context between the characters in terms of, like, the story and what they talk about and what they discover. A lot of people hate this film generally because, like I was saying before, you don't see anything. You literally don't see anything. Nothing spooky really happens until the end. But unfortunately, we were just in the early 2000s. That's just the era of like nothing happening until 5 minutes before the end of the horror film, and then it going bad shit crazy, and then it ending. That's just how films traditionally were and sometimes still are nowadays. I think there should have been more like witchcrafty ideas or symbolisms or something when they're in the woods. Like there needs to be more, because they build it up at the beginning when they're interviewing all these people about who the Blair Witch is and what happened, and the horror stories they were told as a kid, and the forest. Like it builds that up, but then they get in the forest and it just completely, it falls on its face, because I'm like, we've been in the forest for like an hour of the film, and like what the actual hell's going on? Like I don't know. Like they get lost, and then you can kind of predict where it's going because they're lost and they're probably never gonna get out of the forest, and then obviously they all die is one of the many theories. And then that's another issue I know a lot of people have with this film, is at the end it cuts off. I don't remember the way this film ended. So when I watched it, I was like, what? And I mean, people are different. People ingest films in a different way, but I'm definitely someone that likes to have a nice little wrap up or just something to conclude the story. And it just ends. And like, it's not super clear what we actually see. We see like a camera fall to the ground, and then we see like Mike standing up facing the rock, just like standing there, and he's also dropped his camera, and then we just sort of cut. I think the idea of having this like abandoned house within the forest is it's an interesting concept, and you can definitely see how, like for example, like Cabin in the Woods, Cabin Fever, like the Evil Dead remake, like those are examples of like having a sort of creepy secluded house for, in a forest, and you can see other films have maybe taken from that too. However, it could have just been done better, in my opinion. I think there's a lot of things in the Blair Witch that lacks, but I think, like I said, because I have things to compare it to, and I can't erase all these other found footage films from my mind. Like, I know back then when it first was released, it was a fucking gem. They had nothing to compare this to. It was like, what the hell is this, like, found footage film? We've never seen it, which I get and I respect and I understand. I did look up the other day, I do believe Cannibal Holocaust, which I haven't seen, but I have heard is pretty messed up, and I may give it a go. They say that's the proper first found footage film. And then sort of came the Blair Witch, but like I don't know if a lot of people count the Cannibal Holocaust as found footage, but obviously the Blair Witch it's pretty obvious that it is. For a first time watch, I'm sure it was horrifying. Like I remember the first time I watched found footage films, and it is so scary. Like I was saying before, the different aspects how you make a found footage film, makes it 20 times more scarier, and you don't necessarily see anything half the time, which is the beauty of it. Like the most recent one I've seen, like Incantation, that shit was horrifying, but the thing that I loved about Incantation is it was found footage and you saw a lot of stuff that was scary and was weird and was in the frame, was in the background, was there lurking, and it made it 20 times more scarier. So it is so cool to look at the Blair Witch Project and then look at a film like Incantation made in 2022 and think that, you know, that's sort of how far we've come, and like, you know, that genre's fucking stepped up big time. I don't hate the Blair Witch. It started all these, it was the birth of sort of found footage and inspired all these other movies. So, you know, I'm not mad at it. I think the film was fun. There was some aspects that I was a little bit creeped out. It was a bit weird. It is a bit of a slow burner film. You know, nothing really happens till towards the end. I don't think I would revisit it, although I have it on DVD and it's in the collection because it is a classic, and like I said, it inspired so many, and we have to just appreciate those things even if we don't like it that much. You know, I think if I was to rate the Blair Witch, I'd probably give it like a 6 out of 10. You know, it's a bit above average for me, but I am not like obsessed. It's amazing. I think if we were to make this film now, it would be very, very different. I know they did a Blair Witch 2 in 2016. I remember that being alright. I think it was pretty mid. I don't remember it that well, the second one. But I remember they sort of amped up like a lot of ideas in the witchcraft, which made it a bit more spookier. So they tried, but like you said, you can't be an original. That is my review of the Blair Witch Project. Let me know if you guys love the Blair Witch. Do you hate it? Let me know your thoughts and feelings about this in the comments. Please do comment and let me know, guys, if you want me to review any specific films. I would love to hear what you guys want to see, and I'm open to any suggestions. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Do not forget to subscribe to my channel and also check out my IMDb linked down below. I will see you guys on my next one.